please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody, so it's time for another Enforcer Hall of Fame video where I induct a new Enforcer into my Enforcer Hall of Fame. And today we're going to be talking about a player that I think is largely forgotten and largely underrated. A fighter from the 80s who was actually a very, very good and active fighter who people just don't seem to talk about. And he kind of flew under the radar because of other players that were on those teams. That player is Kevin McClelland, who spent most of his career with the Edmonton Oilers in the mid to late 80s and was on some incredibly good teams, some incredibly tough teams, and people just don't talk about McClelland. You know, when it comes to those Oilers teams in the 80s and how good they were and the toughness that they had, everyone talks about Dave Semenko and Marty McSorley, and rightfully so. Those are two legendary enforcers, two of the greatest fighters ever to play the game, and they're already in this Hall of Fame, but people forget about Kevin McClelland. Kevin McClelland was a very active fighter for those teams. He spent some really good years with Edmonton, and I just feel like he never gets the credit that he was deserved. I feel like a lot of hockey fans who are younger and looking back, they know McSorley, they know Semenko, they know the big name guys. They don't even know who Kevin McClelland is. So let's take a look at McClelland here. He played 588 career games in the NHL, scoring 68 goals, 112 assists for 180 career points, and over 1,600 penalty minutes in those 588 games, 1,670. He had 152 career fights, so not even 600 games, 152 career fights between the playoffs and the regular season. His most active year fight-wise came in 1987-88 with the Edmonton Oilers. He had 23 fights that year with Edmonton, 22 in the regular season and another one in the playoffs. His best offensive season also came with the Edmonton Oilers. In 1985-86, he had 36 points that year. And McClelland was obviously a tough guy. He was a fighter. But he had one 30-point season in 85-86, and he did have a few other 20-point seasons with the Oilers in the mid to late 80s. So it's not like he was a horrible player. He was obviously there to fight. He was a tough guy, but he also was able to chip in a little bit offensively with some 20-point seasons. So out of his time in the NHL, he had 4 seasons where he went over the 200 penalty minute mark and a total of 7 seasons when he went over the 100 penalty minute mark. So obviously for a guy who didn't even play 600 games, that's a lot of penalty minutes in a short amount of time. He came into the league with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 1981, but never, played all that much with Pittsburgh. Was there from 1981 to 83. Then he moved on to Edmonton, and that is where he spent a majority of his career. He was a very good, tough guy for the Oilers throughout the mid to late 80s, from 1983 all the way until 1989. Then he got traded in the 1989 season to Detroit. And he's played with Detroit for a couple of years till 1991, and then at the end of his career he bounced around between Toronto and Winnipeg, but only played like a total of 25 games or something between those two teams. Nothing really significant. So obviously his best years came with the Edmonton Oilers. He spent most of his career with the Edmonton Oilers. And he had a lot of fights for them, and I just feel like is a very underrated guy, a very forgotten about guy, and that's unfortunate because he was a very, very good fighter and enforcer for them, and he'll always kind of be overshadowed by Dave Semenko and Marty McSorley, who were incredible tough guys in their own right. But people just forget about McClelland, and McClelland over 150 career fights, most of them coming with the Oilers. a very underrated enforcer. So Kevin McClelland, certainly deserving, is now in my Enforcer Hall of Fame. I want to thank you all for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you soon.